It is week 2 in the Caesars Superdome, and the New Orleans Saints are back in front of the home crowd. After a hard-fought opener versus the Arizona Cardinals, the Saints get ready to face another NFC West opponent in the San Francisco 49ers. It's an early test for New Orleans and a chance to measure up against one of the NFC's best. Welcome inside the Caesars Superdome. The fans are ready for week 2. I'm Stan Barrett, joined by Scott Shanley, former Saints linebacker and 2009 Super Bowl champion with the Saints. Great to be back here at Caesars Superdome for week 2, Scott. The Saints coming off that loss to the Cardinals in week 1, here back at home for the second straight week. The 49ers beat the Seahawks in Seattle, so they're on the road for the second straight week. But the 49ers come here not at full strength, and that starts with their quarterback, Brock Purdy. He's out with a toe injury, so Mac Jones gets the start for San Francisco. How does that change things? Yeah,
it changes a lot. When you look at Coach Shanahan, who's one of the best coaches in the league, he's one of the best offensive coordinators. He's struggled without guys. If he had had Brock Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback, he struggled. He's only 62-30 with those two guys, and only 9-32 without those guys at quarterback. So Mac Jones brings a different type of dynamic. Purdy's a little bit more mobile, so I think you'll see a much more of a pocket presence from Mac Jones in there.
Yeah, Jones, the 15th overall pick in 2021 out of Alabama. Pro Bowler as a rookie with New England, but things kind of went south the last couple of years in New England. Last year he was in Jacksonville. So he said he got lots of reps in the preseason, so he's happy that he's getting this opportunity early in the season. You buying that?
Well, it kind of always scares me when you play against veteran guys. He's been around the block. He's no longer a young quarterback. He, at one time, was supposed to be the franchise guy in New England. He went and had an off year in Jacksonville, sat behind Trevor Lawrence, and now he's with a really good play caller. So I think Shanahan's going to do a good job of putting Mac Jones in position to succeed. Now, that all starts with getting him behind the chains. Make Mac Jones throw the ball on 3rd and 8+. I think that's where he struggles. So that's going to be the key of today's game. Long story short, you got to stop the running game of the 49ers and then worry about the pass game.
Okay, and that brings us to Christian McCaffrey. Last week he had 31 touches, 22 on the ground, caught 9 passes. But the Seahawks kept him out of the end zone, and they limited him to 142 yards on those 31 touches. If the Saints can manage that kind of a defensive performance against him, is that enough to limit him?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think you got a chance. To me, that's containing Christian McCaffrey. Right. When you can do that, hold Christian McCaffrey under 4 yards per carry, which is pretty rare, you have a chance to get ahead of those sticks and put that offense into 3rd and 8+. Now you've also eliminated a guy in George Kittle who's not going to be out there today. Right. He's injured with a hamstring injury. So you have to really put all your eggs into, we have to contain, not going to stop, contain Christian McCaffrey, and that gives you the best chance against this offense today.
So you mentioned Kittle out. They lost Deebo Samuel to Washington in the offseason. Brandon Ayuk is out, coming off a knee injury, still hasn't played yet. Jawan Jennings is questionable today, but it looks like he is going to play. So now, if you're Brandon Staley, how do you attack him? Do you play coverage and say, these guys aren't going to be able to beat my guys, or do you put pressure on Jones?
Well, I think for me, I'm loading the box, first of all, and what that means is you don't really need to play a whole lot of 2 deep safety. Bring that other safety down in the box, really have one guy for every gap and stop the running game, and know what you're going to get in the passing game. I think you like the matchups on the outside, especially without Kittle, and I think you can bring more pressure this week if you're Coach Staley, especially with the left side of that offensive line for the Saints. They struggled a lot last week, which is rare. We've got a Hall of Famer in Trent Williams. He's a little bit banged up. He's going through pregame warmups to see if he'll be available, but bring a little bit more pressure against a quarterback who's making his first start of the year and without some of his key pieces.
Now, when the Saints have the ball, job number 1, making sure you know where Nick Bosa is going to be, because he's one of the trendy terms in the NFL right now is game wrecker, and he fits that mold. So how do you deal with him?
Yeah, he definitely fits that mold. He's one of those guys that keeps offensive coordinators up at night. The sweat starts to run down their forehead when they see that guy line up. So you're going to have to keep a tight end a little bit. You're going to have to chip early in the game, especially with the young offensive tackles. The good news is I think as the game goes along, if you get a feeling that your left tackle and your right tackle, wherever he lines up, can protect and block him, now you get Juwan out in more routes and take advantage, because they do have also Fred Warner on defense. So I think Bosa and Warner, those are the 2 guys. You talk about game wreckers. If you don't know where those guys are lined up every play, they can destroy what you're trying to do offensively.
Spencer Rattler threw the ball 46 times last week. I'm not sure that's what Kellen Moore wants in terms of balance, running the ball versus passing the ball. Alvin Kamara only 13 touches, 11 on the ground. you said you'd like to see him get the ball more this week.
Yeah, I would like to see not only Alvin. Anytime Alvin touches the ball more, it's a good thing for the Saints. I think just sticking to the running game a little bit longer. I think at some point you thought last week that game was starting to turn and maybe it was getting away from you, so you started to throw the ball a little bit too much. But I think Kendre Miller and Alvin Kamara, more Kendre Miller. I'd like to see more Kendre. He looked really good last week. He's a big back with great burst. I think that's a really two-headed monster you got in the Saints backfield. Let your young quarterback get settled in. Set Spencer up with some play action shots. If you get that running game going, now you have a chance to set up some good deep shots over the head of the defense.
A lot of talk about Rattler being efficient, being effective, not turning the ball over, but those shots down the field. Is that something that you can manufacture through play action and running the game going, or is that something that has to be in the game plan from the beginning and say, look, we're gonna push the ball down the field?
Yeah, I definitely think that's set throughout the week. The coaching staff says they look at last week's film and they say, you know what, we didn't turn the football over and that's our main job, but we also didn't create enough big plays. We weren't good enough in the red zone. We got to find a way to design more aggressive down the field vertical throws. So I think you'll see more of that this week in this offense.
What about the receivers? Juwan Johnson, big game last week, but again, it kind of goes back into that theme of getting the ball to Chris Olave. Rashid Shaheed, we didn't really see the kind of explosive plays that he's capable of last week.
Yeah.
Is that something that you can make happen, or is that something that just it has to be there?
Well, I think part of it is there's a lot of respect for Rashid from defense coordinators throughout the league. They know what type of speed he presents, and I think teams are playing too deep shell, making sure they keep the offense in front of him, because you go to Brandon can still run, Olave can run. We have a lot of weapons at those positions that defenses are going to play too high shell and make you run the ball. Saints commit to running the ball. Now you can set up. Teams are going to have to bring that other safety down. If you're running the ball for 4 or 5 yards a pop, you get that middle safety down in the box. That's when those shots open up down the field to Shaheed. It wouldn't surprise me if you see a couple of deep shots early in the game just to let San Francisco know we're not going to be as conservative as we were last week.
Going to be a very interesting chess match between 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, who's back now in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
He, of course, was a defensive coordinator when they had those great teams that made it to the Super Bowl just a few years ago. So he's back with them now. Kellen Moore going to have to move his pieces around to try to attack Saleh. And Saleh, of course, is going to try to use Bosa and Warner to get after the Saints. Aaron Summers spoke with Coach Moore leading up to today's game.
Coach, from week 1 to week 2, what are the biggest areas that you want to see improvement in?
Yeah, just the details and consistency. That's what's got to show up. And so we spent a lot of time through this week emphasizing that, putting a lot of focus into it through this whole entire week of practice. And so we feel like we're ready to go.
Unfortunate injury week 1 with safety Julian Blackman. You have rookie Jonas Sanker ready to step in. How does he fit in with Justin Reed?
Yeah, I think Justin's such a high-level communicator. I think that's going to help allow Jonas to play free and play confident. His play style shows up. When he plays fast and aggressive, he's going to show up.
With quarterback Spencer Rattler getting that first game under his belt, you get in your first game. What more are we going to see from the offense?
Yeah, I thought Spence did a lot of good things. Ultimately, we fell short, but I'm excited to see those guys continue to grow and just give them more opportunities.
When you look at the 49ers, they're going through their own injury issues. What do you do to prepare for Brock Purdy or Mac Jones? What's the biggest difference between the two?
Yeah, I think systematically they're going to be able to still do everything they want to do. And so obviously we know the talent that both those guys are. They certainly have slightly different skill sets, but they have a lot of high capacity to be able to do multiple things on offense.
And then they have Christian McCaffrey, one of the best dual threat running backs out there. How can you contain him, limit what he does?
Yeah, certainly he's someone that we talk about the entire week and just the focal point that he has to be and how important of a player he is for their side of the football. And so, he's going to have a huge impact on this game and hopefully we can limit it as much as we can.
With the new defensive scheme, new defensive coordinator there in the Niners, what's the biggest thing that you have to be aware of that they do?
Yeah, Robert presents a lot of challenges, and he's always been such a good coach on the defensive side of the football, and allowing those guys to play fast and aggressive, and they attack the football, and so I think that's one of the big things. We got to protect the football to give ourselves a chance.
I was going to ask you what the number one thing is that you have to do. So is that it? Just limit the turnovers?
No doubt. I think ultimately we got to be really good in situational football with third downs, red zone. We got to go score points, but you got to protect the football.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
And joining us now on Game Day Live, Saints Super Bowl champion Malcolm Jenkins back with us. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well. Appreciate you having me.
What's it like for you being back here in New Orleans?
I mean, well, I live here, so
okay.
I'm around all the time. It's always different coming back to the Dome, though. As a retired player and from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy it. A lot of good memories.
So he lives here. I don't even have to ask him the question I was going to ask him. What Super Bowl ring are you wearing? Are you wearing the Eagles ring or the Saints ring? So that's good. He's chosen the Saints because he lives here. That's a bigger thing than wearing the ring. Yeah. Man, I tell you what, it's fun. It's like being a kindergarten teacher. I was an old veteran player when this guy was a young rookie. And, you know, when you get done and watching guys like you go on and have the career you had, which was amazing, what was it like coming back home? Because that rarely happens in this sport. Usually when you leave, you kind of divide from where you got drafted. But for you to come back home, kind of walk us down what that was like.
It was great because it was at a time, just even in my personal life, that I needed that. So to be able to, you know, I didn't want to leave Philly, but to fall back unexpectedly back in New Orleans, to finish my career here.
Yeah.
And in the last 2 seasons, I had the most fun of my career here back in this city. So it was a blessing that I really wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really work out like that for most people. So I was definitely grateful.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What kept you in the city after you're done playing? What made you say New Orleans is going to be home?
I mean, you know, my foundation. Me and my mom started in 2010. So 15 years ago, we've been celebrating all year. We made commitments to everywhere that we called home. Everywhere that supported me and nested me, we give back. And so that's Columbus, Ohio, that's New Orleans, Philadelphia, New Jersey, where we're from. And so we stay active. Like I said, I'm still here. I raised my kids here. And so it's one of those places that, you know, once you call home, you're invested.
Right. Right.
I think especially when you're, like I said, when you're a young player and you're drafted somewhere and you kind of set up roots, that's your first time being an adult. The fact that this place means something to you, you had so much success as a young player. I remember telling Malcolm Jenkins stories about this guy when he was drafted. You could just tell, as an older player, when you see younger players run in the locker room, you're like, that guy's going to be a great pro. Like, he just had the demeanor. I mean, he's going to be a great leader. When you went to Philly, you emerged as the leader of that team and obviously had a lot of success there. Was there somebody that you looked up to growing up that kind of gave you those leadership abilities? Because you were wise beyond your years when you came in the locker room.
I think I just have a personality I learned from everybody. And I think when I got to the league, that locker room had great leaders. You were one of them. I watched everybody, you know, how Jonathan Vilma managed his teammates and all of the personalities in the room. You know, how you can have a Anthony Hargrove and Jeremy Shockey.
We had some characters.
Bush,
we had some characters.
All in one room, and yet everybody's focused and able to breathe. You know, those are things that once I got in that seat in Philadelphia, I took all of those lessons, the Drew Breeses, the Sean Paytons. You know, so it wasn't really that, you know, it's an innate thing. It's really just being able to learn from each and every one of these dynamic people you get a chance to be around.
So now you're a licensed photographer. How did you get into that?
Well, I mean, I started traveling and traveling, you know, you take pictures, you have kids, you get into photography. But really I started to write. So when I wrote my memoir in 2022, What Winners Won't Tell You, I was always one of those kids, I needed pictures in my books. I can't just have all And photography is a great way to complement storytelling. And so it's just an extension of kind of my writing and storytelling of how I see in my perspective. And so coming back to the sport through the lens of photography is a little bit different, obviously, than I've approached it any other way. So it's fun.
That's cool. Pictures tell 1,000 words. There's a lot of times you look at a picture and there's so many memories that you have from it. And it's cool that you found another passion, because I think for me growing up, it was football was my passion. I was able to play it and now talk about it. Is photography something that you're going to hop around to different stadiums this year and do, or are you just?
No, not. I don't think so in that regard. I think photography is an exercise in abstract thinking, and I think that is really what then you're able to apply to what you know. And so as a former athlete, I'm always thinking, how do I apply the things I've learned in the game into life? And art and photography and thinking about things in an abstract way has allowed me to see where those skills apply universally. And so it's just a language that I'm literally working out and I'm using the environments that I have access to essentially express that.
So when you shoot a football game, do you feel like your ability to see the game allows you to find that special photo?
Yeah, or I find myself trying to, I've been watching the offense, I'm thinking about the situation and formation, I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be this route, I should probably focus on this receiver. You know, it's different ways to, again, use those skills in a creative aspect.
So I'm going to put Malcolm on the spot. This is a question I get asked all the time, and I never have a good answer. 2009 Saints versus 2011 Saints. Who wins?
2011 Saints.
Was the most talented team. That team was extremely talented.
Oh, man.
And that's what makes seeing these guys in the building today a little bit hard.
Yes, it does.
2011 is a hard year to let go of because we were a really good team that year.
Yeah, it ended that was a tough moment. I literally wrote about that moment in my memoir.
Yeah.
Like that season.
It doesn't leave you. Yeah, I can still feel that ball going to Vernon Davis.
Hey, look, got the 49ers today, so a chance to get a little bit of revenge.
That's right. Exactly.
I was there at that game too, and I was like, the emotional ebb and flow of that game was crazy.
It was an epic game. Man.
I mean, it was an all-time great game. Jonas Sanker, rookie safety for the Saints, going to make his first NFL start today. You remember what that was like? What's the challenge he's going to face today?
Yeah, I think the challenge is slowing your mind down with all of kind of the voices in your head. This is my first game. It's the hype. You want to do things, and really you have to reduce it down to the environment of practice. It's the same field. It's the same rules. It's the same ball. Don't make it bigger than it is. And I think that's a hard thing to do as a rookie. That's what it means to like slow the game down, is to just delete the chatter in your brain. And I think we'll see where that poise, is today.
All right. Hey, man, it's great to see you.
I appreciate it.
Great having you here.
Thanks for joining us, Malcolm. Appreciate it.
Got 2 Super Bowl champions with me this week. Aaron Summers has a special guest, too. Time to check in with her for What's Brewing with Saints rookie tackle Kelvin Banks Jr.
Welcome to What's Brewing, presented by Community Coffee. I'm Aaron Summers, and we're here to find out what's brewing with rookie Kelvin Banks Jr. You had your first taste of the NFL regular season game last week against the Cardinals. What was it?
It was exciting. Definitely just getting a little taste of the preseason, what the stadium was like with the fans, but kind of getting that full experience with the defensive guys running out, getting their names called, and then the who that chant to begin the game. So it was exciting for sure for me.
You got thrown into the fire right out of the gate in college, starting left tackle, and then once again here. How did that experience help you?
It helped me a lot because, like you said, just getting thrown in the fire, getting put in a position most people will be uncomfortable with. It kind of gives you that, as you would say, confidence in yourself that you can go out there and do what you need to do on the field and kind of just play how you want to. So it definitely gave me a lot of kind of freedom of mind and confidence to play my game.
Who's the vet that you've been leaning on the most?
Yeah, for me, it's been 3 guys that has been helping me out a lot, and I'll say a 4th as well. Really been Caesar, Eric McCoy, Tolly, and then Will Clapp has been helping me out some recently. He's been sitting next to me in meetings. I know he had an unfortunate event at the beginning of the preseason, but he's been still in there helping, kind of giving me tips and pointers.
Your dad has been a football coach. Was football always going to be what you did?
I would say, yeah, that definitely was the trajectory of my life. Like you said, my dad, he played football, then he started coaching me, then he became a coach as well. So just having him right there and always being that person who's like, you can do whatever you want, but if you choose to do football, we're going to do it the right way. So it's kind of, that was the path we were going for sure.
So always surrounded by football. But when you're not preparing and you're not on the field, what do you like to do?
For me, I say the 2 biggest things I do. I like to fish. That's probably like the number 1 thing. Me and my pops, anytime it's all season, we go fishing, or we at least try to.
Yeah. Well, this week we have a game against the 49ers. Last week, only 1 sack allowed by the offensive line. What's the key to that continued success up front?
Yeah, just kind of our togetherness. I'll say that's the main thing, and then also honing in on the little details. We had a couple procedure penalties in the game, and just fixing that, because those are things that we can fix. Mm-hmm. Those are not things that we can't control. Those are things we can control. So fixing that and making sure we stay together, I say that's the biggest point of emphasis for sure.
Sounds good to me. I'm looking forward to game 2. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been What's Brewing with Kelvin Banks Jr., presented by Community Coffee.
Scott, he's only 1 game in, but Kelvin Banks Jr. looks like he's going to be a cornerstone of the Saints offensive line for a while.
Yeah, I agree. This kid, I think he has a chance to be really special. I see a lot of the same I see in Trent Williams as a young player when he came out of Oklahoma. Big dancing bear, light on his feet. I think he's going to be an outstanding player in this league.
All right, let's talk about our recipes for success as the Saints get ready to take on the 49ers. And Scott has got to start with those penalties.
Yeah.
And cutting down or eliminating those penalties. By now, if you've been paying attention during the week, you know the numbers. 16 penalties, 13 of them accepted for 89 yards last week against the Cardinals. It's stalled drives for the Saints offense and extended drives for the Saints defense against the Cardinals. So 8 of those pre-snap penalties on the offense. So how did they get that fixed this week?
Well, I think part of it is just your emotions take the best of you in week one. Even though you're playing at home, it's supposed to be to your advantage. I think you get out there under the lights and you get antsy, whether it's lining up wrong and just not paying attention to the small details. So there's no doubt the penalties were a huge concern for the coaching staff. The pre-snap penalties an even bigger concern. Those are preventable. Coaches aren't going to get mad at you within plays. Sometimes grabbing and tugging, things like that happen in the competitive spirit of the game.
Right.
But control what you can control. You can control pre-snap penalties. So if you can cut down on penalties. I played for a guy, Coach Parcells and Coach Payton always, they believed in hidden yardage. 100 yards of hidden yardage equals 7 points. So if you're at 89 yards of penalty yards,
right,
you basically gave up 7 points in a game. So penalties are going to be huge.
Saints had officials at practice this week to actually throw flags during practice to kind of get it in everybody's mind. You can't have the penalties this week. But the other recipe for success is finishing. In the red zone last week, 1 for 4 in terms of touchdowns. They got to get touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah, I think as a defensive player, we always said guys are talented in this league between the 20s. They're going to get yards. They're going to make plays. It's about when they get down there, can we make them kick field goals? It's hard to win in this league if you can make offenses kick field goals over and over and over again. So it's about finishing. It's tough to win games being 1 for 4. When you get down there, when you've done all the work, you get down to that red zone, it's about getting in the end zone. That's how you win games on Sundays.
And then also under the headline of finishing, the defense getting off the field on third down.
Yeah.
So many times last week they got the Cardinals in third long situations, and either they threw a pass or Kellen Moore was able to get outside and convert first downs.
Yeah.
How do they make sure that doesn't happen this week?
Yeah, well, one advantage is you don't have the Kyler Murray effect with the legs. Mac Jones is not going to be that type of player. So that gives you a huge advantage defensively, but it's about getting them into longer down and distance third down. 3rd and 4 or less is a high conversion percentage for an offense. You want to get them into 3rd and 7 plus. Offensive coordinators, they don't have a very deep playbook when they get into 3rd and 7. It takes a lot of time to run those routes. So get them into 3rd and 7 plus. I think that's when you get your percentage defensively. You want to be down to about 30-35% on third down conversions. That's when you have real success defensively.
And then when they get a chance for field goals, Blake Gruber's got to nail them. He was so good during the preseason. Missed one from 37 last week. Uncharacteristic for him. So we assume that's just one miss. Right?
It's part of the game, but even talking about Blake, you can talk about special teams as well. Special teams, make a big play today in today's game. You didn't really see a big return. Set up field position. Those hidden yards, like I talked about penalties, hidden yardage also comes in the special teams game. So get a big return in the return game.
And we talked about Christian McCaffrey, but it bears repeating. One of the other recipes for success today is limiting Christian McCaffrey as much as you can. He's got to be the focal point of their offense.
Oh, absolutely. Today. And I think that's what, it's never easy, but it makes it a lot easier. When you're not worrying about Kittle and Purdy and guys like that, you can really hone in on this guy cannot be the reason we lose today's game. And he's an outstanding player. He's been a little nicked up. He's been on the injury report over the last couple of years. So you really have to get after him with total team defense. 11 hats to the ball when he carries the ball. But also in the pass game, he's dangerous. He's going to Shanahan's going to get him isolated on linebackers. You got to be able to cover him in space and tackle him in space.
Pete Werner, Demario Davis, both great out of the box last week. In week one. So good to have those guys when you're dealing with a guy like McCaffrey.
No doubt about it. You have two of the best. I call them 4-down linebackers. You say 3-down linebackers. These guys are 4-down linebackers who can play in nickel, cover in space, play zone, play man. Those two are going to be a huge part of containing or stopping Christian McCaffrey today.
All right, we have the inactives for today. The Saints inactives include Trey Palmer, Rajon Wright, Xavier Truss, Christian Boyd, Jonathan Bullard, and two that are very important, Scott Trevor Penning and Chase Young. Let's start with Penning. They moved him to guard, and he's a big part of what they're trying to do on offense, but not there today. How does that change things?
I think early in the season, you're better off erring on the side of waiting a little bit too long than rushing back and having injuries linger all season. So I'm fine with both these guys. They're going to be big parts of this team offensively and defensively. I'm excited about seeing what Trevor can do in the offensive line in the running game. I think him going to guard and being able to be a mauler in the running game can really help the offense. And then with Chase, calf injuries are tricky. If you come back too early and you keep restraining it, now it's a whole season thing. Give Chase some time to rest, but there's no doubt he's going to be a big part of this defense.
And of course, we mentioned earlier, Jonas Sanker starting, Julian Blackman out. First NFL start for Sanker, who showed flashes of being a player in the preseason. Yeah,
he did. And if you watch his tape from college, he was a ball disruptor. I mean, he was always around the football. He's got great closing speed. He was really good in zone. He didn't play a whole lot of man, but he could tackle in space. And I think that's what you want to see out of your safeties. Safeties are kind of taking over the jobs for the linebackers in the NFL. They're squeezing us out. We're like the old fullbacks in the league, but he can do it all. Bring him down the box, let him tackle, let him play the flat. He can do that, and I think they're going to put him in position to succeed today.
Tali Fuaga, a little banged up, but he is good to go in terms of playing today against the 49ers. So the prevailing notion is that if there's a time when you're going to get the 49ers, this is as good a time as ever with the guys that they don't have. So how are you feeling big picture about this game?
Big picture, I feel really good. Just like all the things we've talked about, mainly because of the guys that they don't have. I still think this team is one of the better coach teams in the league. I think John Lynch is a great GM. I think Shanahan's an outstanding head coach and really one of the best play callers in the league. So it's going to be a good game.
All right, Saints and the 49ers get ready to kick off in about 36 minutes. Scott will be here with Aaron post-game for all the post-game coverage, and we'll see you back here for Saints Game Day Live next week as well. Thanks for joining us, and go Saints!